The animation universe is coming in hot with the best movies for this year. Are you ready to see what's hitting theaters in 2026 and 2027? Moana. Have you noticed that Disney is turning its animated movies into live-action films? That's why the real-life version of Moana is coming to theaters. We're going to see the Polynesian princess, Maui, and even Heihei like never before. This story promises to be one of the movies of the year. And do you remember that last year Disney had huge success with the movie Lilo and Stitch? In other words, they're going to repeat that big achievement this year. But there's something many people still haven't noticed. Maybe the Moana live-action movie isn't made for younger fans, and that could be a problem for the movie's success in theaters. We say this because the age rating for this movie hasn't been chosen yet, which means the studios still don't know whether the story will be suitable for children or only for older audiences. You might remember that in the animated version, there are many scenes involving drowning and sea monsters. This type of scene can be very scary when done in live action, and that's why we still don't know if the movie will be rated for all ages or not. But don't worry, Disney wouldn't abandon its fans, right? To find out the answer to that question and much more, get comfy and come with us, because another Cinewave is about to start.
Yes, excellent!
Zootopia 3. Zootopia 2 left theaters not too long ago, and we already know we're getting a third movie. In the post-credits scene, a bird feather falls near Judy's window, and because of that, we know birds will be introduced in the next adventure. Because of this, we have a few questions. First, where exactly do the birds live, since it's not in Zootopia? And that makes us think there's another city where only birds live. Second, could their presence be a problem for Gary and his family? This is an important detail because some birds eat snakes. Did you know that? The story of this new movie is, without a doubt, connected to prejudice, just like what happened with Gary. Could it be that the birds were expelled from Zootopia at some point in the past? This new movie should also focus on the relationship between Judy and Nick, since in Zootopia 2, we had many hints that they're going to end up together. But don't expect Zootopia 3 in 2026 just yet, because the movie will probably take another year to be completed. Until then, stick with us. Toy Story 5. On June 18th, 2026, you're going to watch Toy Story 5, one of Pixar's greatest successes of all time. This movie will introduce a villain who isn't a toy, but who wants all of the children's attention for herself. Lilypad is a tablet that will compete with the toys for the kids' attention, and apparently, she'll find a way to send all the toys far away, because in some images, we see an army of Buzz Lightyear figures on an island. Woody is also back, and that's extremely important because he left in the last movie to stay with Bo Peep, his former girlfriend. That raises the question of whether Bo Peep will return. After all, she didn't want to belong to a child anymore. She wanted to be free. Woody stayed with her in the last movie, so it's strange to see the cowboy back, don't you think? We're going to find out everything in this new movie. Are you excited for Toy Story 5?
Ay, ay, ay.
The Incredibles 3. The Incredibles 3 is a movie no one expected to arrive so soon. That's because Disney took more than 10 years to make the second movie, so it feels strange to imagine the superhero family returning to theaters already. The family of Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl will probably face a villain who is bigger than all the others, and that must have something to do with Syndrome. Yes, the first villain of this universe should be back, but not as the mastermind, and instead as an employee of something much bigger. Have you heard of the Kronos conspiracy? The big theory that explains the real reason why heroes disappeared in the past? This theory says that governments around the world, especially the United States, created an entire evil plan to destroy the heroes because they were too powerful. This theory makes a lot of sense since heroes cost a lot of money, and now that they're back, it's almost certain that the Kronos conspiracy will have to act again. If the villain Syndrome is really alive, then we're going to find out who's behind him. What do you think? Would you like to be a hero in the world of The Incredibles? Comment the hashtag Pixar so we can get to know each other. The Lion King 3. The Lion King 3 is a movie that should arrive in theaters soon, and we already know what's probably going through your head right now. The Lion King 3? But that movie already exists. Yes, but we're not talking about the animated one. We're talking about the next live-action movie. In the most recent movies Disney made for this universe, the story of Simba's father, King Mufasa, was adapted for theaters, but everyone knows that in the original films, The Lion King 2 tells the love story between Kovu and Kiara. That means that in the next movie, we're going to see Simba's daughter growing up and falling in love with Scar's son. This is one of Disney's best stories. What do you think? We think it's going to be a huge success. This movie is going to be incredible, and it should arrive in theaters soon, so stay tuned. Dogman 2. Dogman 2 is coming to theaters very soon, and we're going to watch the story of how Little Petey became a hero. In addition, we're also going to learn a bit more about Big Jim, since the books featuring this character, which were released not long ago, became very popular online. What do you think about seeing more of the villains from this universe as well? Piggy, who is the leader of the FLEAs, will also be in the new story, since Flippy, the evil evil fish, is no longer part of the villain team. And if Piggy really is the main villain of the movie, that means fans might get to learn a bit about Petey's childhood. Wow, that would be amazing. But we'll have to wait for DreamWorks to officially announce the production of the animated movie, Inside Out 3. And who isn't going crazy to see the continuation of Inside Out 3? Pixar's huge success will most likely hit theaters at the end of next year, introducing a new emotion for Riley, love. And we know that many fans didn't understand this when the love theory showed up online, since Riley loves her parents, meaning the emotion of love is already present in the girl. We're talking about romantic love, passion. This is an emotion Riley is still developing, and it should be born in the girl's heart, not in her head. Riley is going to truly fall in love with a boy from her school, and that's important because it will show a new phase of the protagonist's life. Are you excited to watch Riley's new emotions on the big screen? We are. Bad Guys 3. Do you have any doubt that Bad Guys 3 is coming to theaters in 2027? This movie will show something that all fans of the books are dying to see on the big screen: the alien invasion that Professor Marmalade has been preparing for decades. Professor Marmalade is actually an alien, a prince from a very violent and evil kingdom that exists far away from Earth. Mr. Wolf and Diane Foxington will lead the team against this threat in an epic battle. At least that's what happens in the books, but no spoilers. Let's wait for the movie to hit theaters, just don't forget to mark the date, September 2027, the month of Bad Guys 3. Don't forget, subscribing is the easiest way to make sure you never miss any of our videos. Ice Age 6. Ice Age 6 is yet another movie no one expected to see hitting theaters in 2026. This movie will close out that year in December, and there are still many months to go, but we already know a lot about what's going to happen. Our heroes will have to face dinosaurs, most likely the last of them, since the extinction of the dinosaurs should be adapted in this movie. But the biggest surprise here is the fact that this movie even exists. Did you know that Ice Age wasn't originally a Disney franchise? It belonged to Blue Sky Studios, which was acquired by Disney in 2019. But apparently, Mickey didn't want to continue making Blue Sky's animated films and shut the studio down. But now that Ice Age is back, we have another theory to share with you. Rio 3. Another movie from Blue Sky that should be in production right now is Rio 3. This animated movie was already in development before Disney made the acquisition, and we even know what the story was supposed to be. Blue, who is the main character, would become a famous actor in the third movie, but he is unfortunately kidnapped while the bird Nigel, the main villain of the story, decides to take our hero's place. There are some scenes that were almost finished and ended up being leaked online, which means Disney has a nearly completed movie in its hands. Is Rio 3 coming to theaters in 2026? We really hope so. Sonic 4. Who's excited to see Amy Rose crushing an army of metal Sonics in the fourth movie of the Blue Hedgehog? Then write this date down on your calendar, March 19th, 2027, because Sonic 4 is coming. The post-credit scene of Sonic 3 shows that this movie will be about time travel, and we know that for a few reasons. First, the way Metal Sonic appears is a reference to the T-800 robot from the Terminator franchise. Another clue is found in the game Sonic CD, which introduces Little Planet, a place where the past, present, and future collide, and the villain is deeply connected to this, since it's in this story that he kidnaps Amy Rose. But when the pink hedgehog shows up, we see that this version of Amy is powerful enough to defeat an entire army of robots. Will they change the story? We can't wait to find out. Shrek 5. Shrek 5 is a movie everyone knew would arrive in theaters at some point, especially since it's one of DreamWorks' biggest successes. But this movie is a bit different from the others. To start with, we already know that the main character of the movie won't be Shrek, but his daughter Felicia. Most likely, we'll be watching a love story between her and some new character. The big question is whether he's human or an ogre, but to find out, we'll have to wait until June 30th, 2027, which is when the movie hits theaters. Puss in Boots 3. Do you know who the Marquis of Carabas is? No? That's the next character who will appear in Puss in Boots 3. The second Puss in Boots movie was one of DreamWorks' best animated films in recent years. But if you're not familiar with fairy tales, we'll explain who the Marquis of Carabas is. In the original Puss in Boots story, he had an owner, and that owner was a poor young man who needed to improve his life. So the cat comes up with a plan to trick a king and secure the princess's hand in marriage for his owner. This entire plan involves convincing the king that the poor young man is actually a very wealthy marquis, and yes, it's somewhat similar to the story of Aladdin. In the end, a great villain, who happens to be an ogre, is defeated, and Puss in Boots takes over the villain's castle for his owner. owner. And yes, it was all a lie at the beginning, but in the end, the cat manages to improve his master's life and save the kingdom from an evil ogre. Would this be a good story for Puss in Boots 3? Do you agree? Hopefully, this movie will hit theaters soon. Enjoying it? Then click one of the 2 videos we left on the screen and keep going with us. See you next time!